Hello and welcome to the spiritual journey with me, Amy Dave. I will introduce myself as I go on, and thank you, beautiful souls, those of you who are able to join me today. It is always an honor and a pleasure to have you with me. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, you can pop them into the chat box and I will take a look at them at the end. And as you know, you will not be on the recording. This is a recording for Odyssey, the platform, and hopefully is recording just me. So let me. Okay, so I wanted to start by setting the tone as I do in every experience that I host. And I would like to just start by saying that my soul honors your soul. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the light, love, truth, beauty, and peace within you because it is also within me. In sharing these things, we are united, we are the same, we are one. So thank you. And I know that whenever you are watching this or whenever you come across it, it is your time to watch it because I truly believe that nothing is before its time and everything happens in its divine timing. So I am Amy Dave. And I am a human on this extraordinary soul journey of mine. And I guess before all of these titles and things, in a nutshell, I love to take people on a journey back home to themselves and to love and to really open up the possibility that life has, the creativity, the passion, the joy, and just reconnecting to all those wonderful, awe-filled, wonder-filled spaces within. So that is really what I do. I shine the light for people when they are searching for theirs until I can take them home to their light. So I do that through my transformative psycho-spiritual therapy, my self-love, soul journey intuitive coaching, and I'm a domestic abuse specialist therapist as well, and part of the glorious Odyssey, the platform, which has some wonderful practitioners that are practicing in all different sorts of ways. So we've got psychic mediums and we've got tantra practitioners and human design practitioners and hypnotherapists, and it kind of goes on, and it's a beautiful space, a holding space, a community for us to come together and explore the soul journey. So my wish for anybody that is watching this workshop, whenever it may be, is let it not be the concepts that you get stuck to or the how it should be and shouldn't be and what's right and what's wrong, but rather that you take away today a deeper connection to all that is through a deeper connection to all that is you. And for me, it is really, really important, and a big part of the spiritual journey that has opened up for me is it's on purpose. There is nothing accidental about this journey. And for me, when I set the intention to be on purpose about my life and the things that I'm experiencing and the spaces that I show up in, I have a different experience. So I'm going to ask you to set your own intention and get on purpose. Why are you here today? What one thing would you love to be able to take away for yourself? And how are you going to show up for yourself? So just take a moment to ask yourself what that would be for you and what intention you would love to set for the time that you are here. Now, it could be just letting go of all of the other stuff that might be in your head and allowing yourself to really be present here. It could be just opening your heart and mind and putting aside the things that you think you know so that you can just be here and be fully open to whatever it is that you might be hearing. It's up to you. But for me, it's about getting on purpose about life. And if you want to, those who are present, you can share your intention in the chat box. I'm going to do a moment of grounding. Again, this is something I do in all of the experiences that I have. I just feel it's very important to come together in the space to connect, but most importantly, to connect to yourself. So I'm just going to invite you to take a moment to just close your eyes, to get present with me, and I will guide you through a small grounding exercise. So I invite you to just close your eyes wherever you are right now and just start to feel into your body and just notice your breath. Just notice your breath as it flows in and out of your body. And just allow yourself to connect to it, to go within. Just feel your breath as it fills your body, as it goes in through your nose or mouth, down your throat, down through your torso. Give yourself this moment to be with yourself, to connect to the gloriousness of you and all that you are. You bring your focus into your heart space. Just connect to your heartbeat. For this is where you find the seat of your soul. Imagine a beautiful light radiating out from your heart. It's light of love that connects each and every one of us. Take this moment to just connect with your soul, your higher self, your team, because all of that which I will say today, somewhere within you already know. So allow yourself to connect and know that all the answers you need are already within you. Take a moment to give gratitude for all that you are and for being in this space today. And allow yourself to just have an open heart and mind as we proceed. You slowly bring your attention back to your breath, to the space that you are in. When you are ready, you can open your eyes. So awakening. So I'm going to put out there, I do everything random. What comes to me is what I put out there. So I went with the order in which it was given to me. And for me, chaos is creation. So I go with the chaos and I create. But I feel like for a lot of people, and for me in particular, actually, it was this awakening journey that really triggered off my connection to the soul journey and everything that was there. So for me, I'm going to share a little bit about my story. For me, I feel like there was a sense of awakening going on for a very long time. I feel like, it was knocking on my door and I pretty much ignored it. And at the same time, I'm very aware now that nothing happens until you are ready for it to happen. So I know that I was not ready. until the point where I got ready. But at that point, my life came crumbling down around my ears. And it was the sense of falling into darkness, and everything that I had thought was my world just falling away from me, and feeling like I had no control over that brought me literally to my knees, because I honestly believed that I could not cope at this point, and that I had done something horrifically wrong to be in the situation that I was in. And when I fell to my knees in that darkness, in the darkest space, in one of the darkest spaces I've ever been in my life, inside me there was a voice. And this voice spoke, you're either going to have faith in you now and really love yourself, or you can let go. And you will let go if that is the case. And I can remember literally physically being on my living room floor, on my knees, and in that moment thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm either going to be swallowed up by this darkness, or I'm really going to have to step into something completely different than I ever have before. And at this point in my journey, I had lost all connection to faith. I lost connection to religion when I was very, very young because of the way that it was used against me. So this was a real moment, a real testing moment for me. In that moment, I decided I would choose me. And I don't think I've ever chosen me in the way that I chose me in that moment, because that moment triggered everything that happened after. And I know if in that moment I had made a different decision, it wouldn't have been the end. It would have been a diversion, because I still would have got to where I got to. And I think this, for me, is the beautiful thing about the spiritual journey in essence. Because we always get to where we need to go. It's not going to not happen, because that is how intricately designed this beautiful journey is. So if you are going through awakenings, and for me, it isn't one awakening, there isn't one moment. There have been multiple throughout my lifetime that I can now look back and remember. Only at certain points they weren't as clear, and I didn't really understand what was going on. But the essence of awakening for me, for those people that are really questioning it and wondering what's going on, because it's like your life starts to fall apart and relationships fall apart. In my case, relationships fell apart, businesses fell apart, finances fell apart, my home fell apart, and the ultimate thing was a separation from my grown children. But all of it was to bring me back to myself. But if that's where you are right now, it's really in the knowing and understanding that awakening, because I know this word is thrown around a lot, that awakening and the essence of awakening is really coming to the realization that there is so much more. It isn't just this. Because if I did live my life like this is just it, this is me going through all this horrendous stuff as a human being, and this is it. So what is the point of any of it? And for me, when we get to that point of awakening, it's really because our soul is nudging us so hard, because it's supposed to happen. It's like, no, open your eyes and understand that there is so much more, and you are supposed to be doing so much more. And when we're not listening, the nudge gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger, because you designed that journey. You are supposed to wake up when you are supposed to wake up. So if you're in that space, have faith in you and the journey that you have created for yourself. But ultimately, to me, awakening is that. It's that recognition that there is so much more going on than just this human journey. So, spiritual journey, again, these things are bandied around a lot, and there's a lot of buzzwords and trends and all this kind of thing. And for me, in essence, the spiritual journey is you. It is your journey through life, through this human life, and through all the other lives that you have as the soul that you are. So when people kind of ask me, what is the spiritual journey to you and how would you describe it? For me, the spiritual journey is you, it is your journey. Because I am a spiritual being having a human experience. It's not a separate thing. Like, spirituality isn't something that I step into and out of. And when I did, it hurt me quite deeply to kind of take one foot in and one foot out, one foot in and one foot out, because this is a way of being. It's not a way of doing something. You're not doing something. You're not doing spirituality. It's just that our words are our words that we have. But ultimately, spirituality is beingness. It is you. It is love. And for me, purpose that I discovered through this waking up journey was that my purpose is to have this human experience. That's why I'm here. I'm here to have the human experience of being Amy Dave. So the least I can do is let myself have that experience to its very, very fullest, because I owe that to myself. Especially when I think of the fact that through the eternal journey of our soul, this journey is about 3 or 4 minutes long. But this journey, just like the people that are sitting here, the beautiful souls that are sat with me today, and anybody else that will see this, how amazing is it that you chose to wake up this time? That whatever it was that got you in this human experience to this point, this time, as the person that you chose to be this time, this was the one where you were like, no, I'm going to wake up. This is the one. And I know through my experience and my journeys, this was the one where I awoke to the abuse. This was the one where I finally broke the cycle. This was the one where I finally lived my truth. And for me, that is such a glorious and beautiful thing, to hold that, have an awareness of that, bring that into your life, and be intentional. Again, this journey is on purpose. There is nothing about this journey that is accidental in any way, shape, or form. And living as you choose to live is about being on purpose. It is not an accident. No part of you is an accident. So don't treat yourself like you're some sort of an accident. Get on purpose about who you are being and the experience that you are having, because it is very, very intentional. It's consciousness, the spiritual journey. If nothing else, it's about consciousness, awareness, presence, being in the here and the now. And I really struggled with this concept for many, many, many years. Like, I did my degree in therapy. I graduated in like 2008. And even then, I kind of struggled with the whole process of awareness and consciousness and being here. And I couldn't really get my head around it. And it was the letting go and observing that changed everything for me. And I will talk to that a little bit further along, because for me, it's one of the key components of any journey in life is consciousness, is awareness, is really being there to witness yourself. Because what is the point of this journey if we are not witnessing this journey? And for most of us, we spend most of our time trying to avoid our journey. We're suppressing it, numbing it, running away from it, going to other people, going to things outside of ourselves. But this is about being conscious about you and bringing it back. And as I've said, nothing is an accident. And we are on a soul journey. When I marry the two together, my human experience makes a lot more sense when I marry the soul journey with it, because I can see the journey of my soul. My soul is on this glorious journey of evolution and expansion. It's learning through me having this human experience. And it's creation. The universe is creation. You are creation. And we get very, very stuck and we stop the creation process. But everything about us is creation. So it's about reconnecting to that essence of creation. And it's about opening up to who you are. You are here. We are all here with our gifts, our abilities from the various lifetimes that we may have lived. And it's about embodying that and being okay with it, allowing yourself, giving yourself the permission to really be everything that you came here to be. So I guess one of the bigger questions that comes up and that came up for me was, who am I? And I would urge everybody to take the time to open this up fully, because for a lot of people, we get to a space in life and we're like, this is just who I am, and this is how it is, and this is how it's always been, so this is how it's always going to be. But that's far, far from the truth, because again, you are a creation. You created yourself. And for a lot of people, we become a product of our experiences. I know that I previously lived my life as a reaction to everything that I had experienced. So I wasn't really me. When I came to the point of waking up or connecting to my soul journey, that was when I realized I was sitting there and thinking to myself, I don't know who I am at all. I've got no idea. I'm a response to everything that's happened to me, and I am what other people have told me I should be, or what I have learned I am through how they've behaved towards me. There is no essence of me in any of those things. And I think the interesting thing for me was to observe the fact that I do my hair the color I do, and I have my tattoos. It's on my body. So for a very long time, I was trying to express an element, a facet of me, but I didn't know how to do it. So I did it through that. But it all started to make sense when I actually started to go within and ask myself, well, who are you? Who do you want to be? And this is the beauty of this. I am giving this to you as a reflection. It's not a one-shot wonder. It's not, I sit here with my journal and just kind of go, okay, who am I, and write it down. Use that for the entirety of the time that you have left here as the person that you are. Because every day is an opportunity for you to create and recreate who you are. Because you're not static in any way, shape, or form. So who do you want to be? How do you want to experience yourself? How do you want other people to experience you? Because you are not just like this. Oh, 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 oh. See, one of those moments. Love this. Okay. And the thing is, with this journey, I think one of the hardest things in my experience for me and the people that I've worked with is getting to the center of it, which is you are the universe. All of this journey is about you. It is not about anybody else at all. Your journey is about you. Their journey is about them. Your soul evolution is about you. It's not about anybody else. So the sooner you can get with the program about the fact that you are the center of your universe and all of this is about you, the sooner you will come out of the stories that you have about other people and how they have an effect on you. I know for a fact that I chose the people that were around me, particularly my family, because I had to get to where I had to get to. So at that point, for me, everything looks different, right? Because this is my story. This is about me. And a lot of the crumblings, the tower moments, the things that fell away from me were things that kept me stuck in, I am giving myself away all of the time. I truly believed that my life was about giving myself away to other people. Selflessness, because I was taught that. Put other people before yourself. Put other people before yourself. Even if they're doing something horrific to you, put them before yourself. Listen to the authority. Go against what your body, your mind, your soul might be saying to you and just do this. Those were the things that I was taught. So it took a hell of a lot for me to kind of step out of that. And it was the separation from my children. So this happened actually not that long ago, but they are adults, both of my children. And I really held on to them through this process. It was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I need to hold on to them. And the guilt set in and the self-judgment set in. But when I left the home that we were in, I had to leave without them. And we all went to separate spaces. And it's funny because I was about to say it was one of the worst moments of my life, but they're like, no, it wasn't. It was one of the best moments of your life. Because through the pain and through the human experience, as I got through the layers of the human experience, I realized that particularly with my children, I was in a space of, I live for you. And that's not how this works. Can't live for anybody else. You have to live for you because they are on their journey. I am on my journey. And it was that moment that really helped me to shift into another space completely, where I really saw me for the first time. It was the first time in my life that I lived just for me. That I was suddenly on my own and I was in isolation. And the isolation is also a necessary part of this journey because that's the only way we truly get to be with ourselves, to meet ourselves, to witness ourselves, to honor ourselves, because we have no other choice at that point. So it was that isolation that brought me back home to myself, completely brought me back home to myself. And it was wrestling. And I know for people out there that it's that wrestling with, oh my God, that's being selfish. And but I was taught to be selfless and all of these things. And wrestle with it. Allow yourself to do that because your soul already knows the answer to that question. Connect to your higher self. Ask the questions. Please ask the questions and sit with the feeling of it. Because ultimately, this is your story. You are the author of this story. You have the answers. You know your truth. You create yourself. You are your savior. You are your oracle. You are the magic. You are the magician. And it's about getting used to that. Because with that comes responsibility. And in a way, that's why we've been conditioned in the society we live in to go outside of ourselves, to search for answers, to search for safety, to search for security, to search for truths. We are guided outside of ourselves because then we live in fear. And this journey is about coming back to love. And when we come back to love, we come back to ourselves. So it's about redirecting yourself because actually everything you need is already here. And it is our culture that puts us in this space of all these concepts and ideas about how we should be and how life should be. And it's all very, very busy so that we're not focusing on us. We're not asking ourselves the right question. We're pressurizing ourselves to be something that we are not and to connect to something that just doesn't feel right. And everything about my journey has made me question that because it's taken me away from everything that is in the human constructs. And it's stepping out of that has really allowed me to see, hold on a minute, we're so clamped by this fear of having to do certain things and be a certain way. But the freedom is in here. The truth is in here. This is the only thing that I get to control. And this is the only thing that you get to control. And for me, love is the answer. Like, and I know that people kind of throw that around and, you know, but I could do a whole workshop on just that. Because ultimately it's about loving yourself. It's about knowing that you were created through unconditional love. You are an aspect of that beautiful unconditional love. And it's about connecting to that daily. Did I believe that at first? No, I didn't. I very much didn't. But that was about the relationship I had with me. And that's why the relationship that you have with yourself is everything in this journey. Because love is the answer. It is going from this state of living in fear, loving in fear, doing everything that we do in fear, to moving to this state of, hold on a minute, I am always held in love. I am the vision of love. I was created in love. How can I be anything but love? Because from this space, everything is different. Even if I experience fear, when I've got a foundation of love, I'm not judging myself. I'm not getting into chaos or anxiety. I am acknowledging, okay, you're afraid. What do you need right now? What would love do right now? How can you love yourself even more right now? Because you're afraid. And it's a very different experience to living in fear all of the time. So it is about loving. But first and foremost, it's about loving yourself, because if you cannot love yourself, how can you ever believe, accept, receive love from anywhere else? You cannot. And with that then goes the question, and I get asked this question a lot. It's about the suffering. Why do we suffer? And I guess for me, the quote resonates that pain is part of our human experience. Suffering is more of an optional thing, because suffering is something we do to ourselves. I can go through something horrendously painful. Like when I separated from my children, the pain was very real in my human experience. The suffering was a whole different situation, because it was how I was looking at it. And suffering is based on our perspective. It's based on us feeling like the victim. And I am not a victim of this life, for sure. I am a creator of this life. So in that vision, it's like, okay, this thing happened. Why did it happen? Rather than going into that suffering of, why is this happening to me? For me, knowing that I'm on a soul journey, and actually these are learnings for me to grow from, because there is a space that I am going to, allows me to step out of the suffering and to look at what I'm going through, not as a victim, but as the warrior that I know that I've come here to be. And that is you. You are here on this journey. And yes, you go through some things that are seriously challenging and horrific. An experience, if nothing else, is about feeling, because only we get to feel in the way that humans do. So you chose that for a reason. Our souls elevate through those feelings. And it's okay to feel pain. And this is the thing. This is where we've got caught up in our human concepts and constructs. We've forgotten that actually feelings are not a pick and mix. We need to feel all of the feelings. To feel the joy, the thrill, the exhilaration of life, we also must know the other side of it, because otherwise, how do we know we're feeling it? How do we know we're in joy if we don't feel pain? It's the duality of life. Because if all of this was picture perfect, how would we know it was picture perfect? We wouldn't, because we're not experiencing anything else we go through that allows us to then feel the very opposite of it. But the suffering is a whole different thing. The suffering is how we are relating to ourselves. Because you don't have to go through the suffering. But it is about taking responsibility for how you choose to see it, how you choose to move forward. What am I doing here? Yes. This is a question I've asked myself many, many times. What am I doing here? But I guess in an essence, and I'm looking at the time now as well. In essence, for me, again, this is something that these questions have come through me, and they're there for a reason. So for me, these aren't the kind of questions that I sit there and kind of answer. These are the kind of questions I have that are within me. and I allow the answers to come to me on a daily basis, what am I doing here? I am having an experience of being a human. That's what I'm doing here. And if I see it just like that, and if you see it just like that, if you see it as I'm here having a human experience, everything else is meaningless until I attach meaning to it. How does it change your experience? What would be different for you if you saw this as a human experience as opposed to judgments and this is happening to me and there's a right and there's a wrong and there's a bad and there's a good and there's a should and there's a shouldn't? Because there isn't. There isn't any of that. You are putting that on the journey. To spend a day, I challenge you to spend even one day where you set a reminder for yourself and sort of go, okay, I'm on a human experience today. And that's all it is. It's a human experience. And any meaning that I attach to it is coming from within me. It's not coming from outside of me. It's all me. And I would love your feedback. I would love for you to come and tell me what that experience was like for you. Because I see life as this is me having my human experience. This is it. So I can label it however I wish to. But ultimately, that's what it is. And my soul is expanding. It's having this evolution through this experience. And that has stopped a lot. I was going to say a very bad swear word then, but I'm not going to say it. It has stopped a lot of the messing around with my head. It's stopped a lot of the judgment. It stopped a lot of the wasting my time trying to overanalyze everything and wonder, why is this happening to me? And why is this going like this? And it's like, okay, this is my human experience. These things are all happening for a reason. So like, it's up to me now how I show up to these human experiences. I have the power to show up however I wish to. And it is life-changing. There we go. What is this life? Another question that I would love for you to just take away and really allow yourself to experience it, because what we experience life as for a lot of us is something that we've boxed in completely. It's like, life looks like this because I've been told this is how it has to look. But really, what is this life? Again, this life is your human experience. You don't get to be this human again. So why are you wasting this life? This precious, precious life in the nuances, in the little things? Because you've got so much to live. You've got so much to give. You've got so much love and light to radiate out there. So what is this life? This life is what you choose to make it. This is your experience. And whatever you're experiencing outside of yourself right now, I urge you to turn it inwards, because it is a reflection of what is happening within you. Everything, our world, is a reflection of what is going on within us. When my world was full of conflict and self-judgment and self-hatred, around me, everything that I saw was hateful and painful and judgmental. And now that I live in this space of love, everyone around me is very, very loving, and I have a loving experience of life on a daily basis. She shows up and she matches and mirrors what is going on inside me. So for me, life is your playground. And it's time to go forth and create. Really create. Do not hold yourself back. Be unapologetically all of you. Because why, when you're going to be here this one time as this person, would you hold yourself back? For what reason? And ask yourself that question. For what reason am I holding myself back? For what reason am I minimizing, suppressing myself? Why? To please who? And even if I do it, do those people notice? Are they ever pleased? Because now, if you are here today, this is your sign. This is your sign to step into your life. It's your time to step in and use your life to create the experiences you want to create. Because ultimately, we are always those children. We want to play, we want to have fun, we want to explore, because your soul is on a journey of joy. It is guiding you to joy every single day. It is guiding you to love every single day. And it's up to you to follow that guidance, to follow your inner intuition, to follow your higher self, and to follow that journey. Because I can tell you now that my experience of life used to be miserable. I loathed myself, and I do not use that word lightly at all. I loathed myself. I lived in abusive relationships. Everything around me felt dark. I kept myself in negativity. I used to look at negative news, and I just felt like the world was a horrible, horrible, hateful place. So when I listen to myself sitting here right now saying what I'm saying to you, there is that part of me that jumps with utter joy, that little girl in me that always knew that there was so much more, lights up. And I know that my journey has been how it has been. So I can sit right here, right now, and be like, yes, you can get from that space to this space. Because my experience of life is completely different. It is joyful, it is peaceful, it is blissful. Because all of that is in me. And I choose for it to be so. So reconnect, take your time, beautiful souls, to really reconnect to the awe, the wonder, the magic, the play, the fun, the curiosity. Explore, come back to your passion, your joy, your creativity, and the possibility. Because that's what life is truly about. And we have all shrunk ourselves to fit into this, I don't even know what, this human experience that we've been told we should have. But you're so much bigger than that. So out of any one of those things, pick one thing and bring some focus to it. Find the magic every single day, or go and have playtime every single day. Not because it's a reward, but because that's how beingness is. That is being. And now I can't see my arrows. That's always great. So consciousness, as I said, consciousness, presence, awareness, here and now, whichever way you want to word it, you can. But that is your magic key. That is ultimately the key to everything. So the process for me is one of observation. Observe yourself all of the time. Okay, this journey is about you. So rather than watching everything outside of you, again, this is something we've been conditioned to do, is look at what's going on outside of us the whole time. Watch other people, watch the television, read the news, throw judgments at what the world is doing. Come back and start with you, literally. And this is an activity, an exercise that I am giving you. Again, start with one day, one moment, 5 minutes even, where you are completely there. Because spirituality, for me, in essence, is about living from here. Because all of us are just recycling our experiences. We live from the past. Every moment of our life, we are pulling from past experiences and projecting it onto our present, so that we can create the same experience again and again and again, so that we can fulfill our self-fulfilling prophecy of this is how I am, this is how life is. And for me, whether it's psychologically or spiritually, the answer is always the same. Watch yourself and get present, because that's what you're here for. It's your journey. So I'm going to invite you for one day at least to observe yourself throughout the day and in everything that you are doing. Observe how you are talking to yourself. Observe how you are talking about yourself. Observe your thoughts. Observe your feelings. Observe how you go into situations with people and deal with things, but without judgment. This is not a judgment call. This is not you sitting there going, oh my God, look at what am I doing? Why am I doing that? No, this is you being the child and watching yourself, just observing how you have become who you are today, because therein lies the answers for you. And you will then notice that the majority of time you are pulling from your past and bringing it into the present, because you will see a situation from afar and you match it to a past situation and then go, okay, this is how I'm going to react. But when you get present and you become the watcher, then you realize, then you can slow down enough to choose how you want to respond in any given situation. And it changes how you live your life. That is my life 24/7. That is my practice 24/7, to be the observer of me, to watch myself in process. And that is the thing that has allowed me to change my thinking completely, because I'm with my thinking. I'm watching now. I'm going, well, that's not really true, is it, Amy? And then I can see where it's come from. It's come from the past. So to get fresh new thinking, fresh new insights, to show up in a different way, you're going to have to be here right now. So I'm giving you that as an exercise. And again, please come back and let me know how that went for you, because it is the most beautiful thing. And for me, this is the way to create change and transformation in our life. It's to show up for yourself, right? It's to show up for your life, to understand, why am I being this way? Where is this coming from? But as I said to you, do it with no judgment. Be curious. I want to understand this. I want to understand why I'm responding like this in these situations. And you will see that there is a pattern. There is a judgment that you make about certain situations based on your past experience. And slow down enough so that you can have a different response to something. And show yourself, acknowledge yourself at that point, and come and tell me, because that is an acknowledgement of you. Okay. Where are we at? Ooh, we're much further than we thought. So I am actually going to stop it here somewhere. And I can't stop it without saying faith is a central thing to this, but it's about faith in you, above and beyond everything. When I meet people that are very religious, for example, and they say, yes, I have faith in God, or whatever it is that they believe in, and then it's like, but I don't trust me. But you are the divine. You are the love. If you don't trust you, how can you trust anything else? You can't. It's not possible. So the faith grows from you. So trust yourself, because like I said, you already know everything that you need to know. Okay. So how do I move forward from this space? Okay, this is about slowing down. It's about connecting to yourself. It's about getting present and question everything. Question it, not in a judgmental way, but it's like, why am I believing this? Do I have to believe this? Does it only work this one way? These gentle questions change everything. Everything. And for me, reflection is what it's all about. It's like, if I'm not asking the right questions, I'm never gonna understand something different. It's like, ask yourself, why do I believe this is true? Why am I believing what is true and what is not true? Where does that come from? Who told me? Who told me that I'm this? Do I have to be this? It's only when you ask those questions that you sit there and you go, oh, no, I don't have to be all of this. This is really about connecting to you. So connect to you in any way that works for you. It's about moving from here to your heart space. Okay, so journal, meditate, walk, dance, whatever you can do to connect to yourself, do that. Do that with joy. And nurture yourself with nature. So I am going to stop it there. There is so much more I could have done. I think I'm going to do parts and just, do lots of different ones on this. But I have been Amy. I will always be Amy. Well, on this journey anyway. And as I said, I'm a transformative psycho-spiritual therapist, a self-love soul journey intuitive coach, and a domestic abuse specialist therapist, and part of the glorious Odyssey, the platform, which is connecting souls throughout the world. So thank you very much, beautiful souls, for being here. I am going to stop the recording at this point. and then I can talk to the people that are here. So thank you very much.